Hi. Recently, when I was praying, was encouraging me, and I'm excited to share with you what He was encouraging me about at the end of the age. Here's four things that God was speaking about. I pray that this video will really encourage you for the days we live. So, the number one thing that God said to share with you and encourage you out there with is focus on revival, not survival. I already gave you a little preview in my introduction, but what does that look like? You see, revival is God is reviving things. And when He revives things, it's not about just getting by in the ways of the past. There's some work to do. Some things need to go. Some new things need to come. And it is all about focusing on Jesus. So the second thing God said we need to rearrange in our thinking, and God often shows me to call it stinking thinking because our old nature has a lot of stinking thinking. But God's good thinking is glorious. And so the second point is not about doom and gloom at the end of the age, but destruction with God's glory. Now, think about that. Destruction with God's glory. Okay, are we going to be looking at the destruction of the worldly systems, or are we going to look at God's glory in it all? You see, if the truth were known, we've put into place some worldly structures that needs to be destroyed. You know, I was talking in one of my other videos about how with revival, it's like the reconstruction of a house. There's a physical house where you need to restore it, and you need to take a sledgehammer to some things and knock out walls and knock out the plumbing and knock out all the electrical. It looks horrible, that process, but it is needed for the rebuilding glorious process that Jesus has for you and me. Third point at the end of the age is God is wanting me to encourage you to focus on Jesus, not to focus on the problems, because then Jesus showed me to share with you. Whatever we focus on, we empower. We don't want to focus on all the problems and empower a lot of problems in our life. That will just destroy our soul. We want to empower Jesus in His healing, in His building. Psalm 127 says, unless the Lord builds the house, they labor in vain. Jesus is the builder, the rebuilder. He is doing awesome things. We're going to look to Him in all of it. And when we get the bad news, we're going to tune the bad news out, and we're going to fix our eyes on Jesus, the author and perfecter of our faith, who for the joy that was set before Him, He endured the cross. He endured everything He was going through for the joy that was set afterwards. And now He's sitting at the right-hand throne of God, and He's calling us there with Him. This is glorious, beloved. We are living in an amazing time. Okay, When all these things are going on at the end of the age, it's going to be devastating for some people. But those are the ones that are not set in God's ways. So the Lord showed me to share with you that there will be casualties. The enemy will take some of our loved ones out. It is sad. But at the same time, God is calling us to be not to be preppers, but to be setters. Setters in his name. Set in God's ways. Set in his word. Set in how God blesses those who follow him. Set in the way that when we are totally focused on him, glorious things are happening. And set in the way that the kingdom of God, the new Jerusalem, the new habitation, the reign of Christ is coming with us. We are setting his government in order. If we don't, and we try to go through life with hyper grace, Jesus died and there's nothing for us to do, we will be a casualty because our flesh will get in the way. Our flesh will be focusing on how we can be pleased rather than how God can be pleased. We're setting the standards for God to rule and reign in our hearts and in the kingdom to come. God bless you all. I love you. I hope these 4 things that God shared with me will encourage you. You see, there's no in-betweens anymore. There will be justice and judgment that will come for those who will not be set in God's ways, who will not be focusing on God's glorious things, and those who will not be destroying the old mechanisms to employ the new things that God has for us. Love you all. God bless. I'm praying for you.